The ballroom of the Marina Crest Hotel glittered like a jeweled vault suspended above the city. Crystal chandeliers spilled warm light over marble floors, white silk drapes flowed from ceiling to wall, and the scent of fresh orchids mixed with expensive champagne. On the surface, it was a wedding, laughter, music, celebration. But beneath the elegance ran a current of quiet vigilance. The servers moved too precisely. The security was too seamless. Men in tailored black suits stood near pillars and exits, earpieces hidden, eyes constantly scanning. To the untrained eye, they were staff. To anyone who knew power, they were guards. When the doors at the far end of the ballroom opened, the music did not stop, but something shifted. Daniel Park stepped inside. He did not need an announcement. His presence did that for him. Conversations softened. Laughter dipped. Several guests straightened instinctively, glasses pausing midair. The men who knew him inclined their heads just slightly, not in greeting but in acknowledgement. The women watched him with a mix of curiosity and caution. Daniel moved with unhurried confidence, every step measured. His black suit was simple, perfectly cut, no visible jewelry except a watch that cost more than most cars. His face was calm, almost detached, the kind of composure earned through years of command and violence restrained rather than unleashed. This was a man used to rooms bending around him. For 7 years, he had ruled his world with precision. No distractions, no attachments, no weaknesses. Until his eyes found her. She stood near the edge of the ballroom, partially shielded by a column wrapped in white roses. At first, his mind rejected what he was seeing. Faces blurred together at weddings, old acquaintances, distant relatives, strangers pretending familiarity. But this face did not belong to the present. Emma. The name struck him like a blow to the chest. 7 years, vanished in a single breath. She looked older, though not in a way that diminished her. Stronger, quieter. Her dark hair was pulled back simply, her emerald dress elegant without trying too hard. She held herself differently now, with a guarded stillness that spoke of someone who had learned how to disappear. Daniel's fingers tightened slowly around the glass in his hand. She had vanished without a word. One day she was there, filling his apartment with laughter and arguments and plans. The next, she was gone. No goodbye, no explanation. Just absence and silence that hardened into something colder. He had searched. He had demanded answers. He had burned bridges and paid prices he never spoke of. And now she was standing in front of him, as if the past had simply waited. But it was not Emma alone that stopped his breath. Beside her stood a little girl. The child couldn't have been more than 6 or 7. She wore a pale blue dress, her dark hair braided neatly, small white ribbons tied at the ends. She was holding Emma's hand, her other hand clutching a tiny purse shaped like a star. Daniel did not move. He could not. The girl turned her head slightly, laughing at something Emma whispered to her, and that was when the world truly fractured. Those eyes. Dark, sharp, observant. Eyes Daniel had seen every morning in the mirror. Eyes that belonged to his father. Eyes that had marked generations of men in his family like a signature written in blood. A faint dimple appeared in the girl's left cheek when she smiled. His chest constricted. Around him, the ballroom continued to exist. A waiter laughed at a joke. Champagne flutes clinked. The string quartet played on. But for Daniel, the sound dulled, stretched thin, as if he were underwater. Emma looked up. Their eyes met. Color drained from her face. For a fraction of a second, the careful control she had built cracked, and something like fear flashed across her expression. Not surprise. Fear. As if she had always known this moment would come and had spent years trying to outrun it. The little girl followed Emma's gaze and looked at him openly, curiously, not afraid, just studying him with the unfiltered honesty of a child. Daniel felt his breath catch, sharp and painful. Why is she here? And why does that child look like me? He did not ask the questions aloud. He did not move toward them. He did not need to. Every instinct he had honed over years of surviving betrayal and bloodshed was screaming one thing. This was not coincidence. This was fate stepping directly into his path and refusing to move. Daniel Park did not react the way other men would have. There was no outward sign of shock, no tightening of his jaw, no sudden movement toward the woman who had just torn open a grave he had buried 7 years ago. From the outside, he remained exactly what everyone in the ballroom believed him to be. Calm, controlled, untouchable. But inside him, something old and dangerous stirred. He had spent years turning pain into power and memory into discipline. When Emma vanished, his world had not shattered loudly. It had collapsed silently, brick by brick, night after night. He remembered the morning he came back from Tokyo. The apartment too clean, her shoes gone, the air stripped of her presence. No note, no message, no explanation. At first he had assumed fear, then anger, then betrayal. And finally, he had told himself the truth he could survive. That love was a liability. That attachment weakened men like him. That belief had built the empire he now ruled. He became colder, sharper, more feared. He stopped asking questions he did not want answered. He stopped letting anyone see past the surface. By 32, he was no longer just a man. He was a name spoken carefully. A shadow that decided who walked free and who did not. Every decision he made was precise. Every emotion contained. Until now. Because standing across the room was the one woman who had once looked at him without fear. The only one who had touched him without calculation. The one person who knew him before the blood and silence hardened into armor. And beside her stood a child who did not belong to chance. Daniel forced his breathing to slow. He had learned long ago that emotion revealed weakness, and weakness invited death. He watched without appearing to watch. That was his gift. To observe while remaining invisible. Emma kept her body angled protectively toward the girl. Her hand never loosened its grip. She stood like someone prepared to run even while standing still. That told him everything. She was not here by accident. She had not come to see him. She had come knowing he might be here and still walked into danger. The girl shifted her weight and laughed again. The sound struck him harder than any gunshot ever had. It was light, unburnt, untouched by the world he ruled. Daniel felt a pressure in his chest he did not recognize. Something close to grief. Something dangerously close to hope. He replayed the timeline in his mind with brutal clarity. 7 years. Tokyo. Her disappearance. The exact age of the child. The math was merciless. If the girl was his, then Emma had not betrayed him. She had been forced, or hunted, or silenced. And if that was true, then the past he had accepted as settled was a lie. Daniel shifted his stance slightly, and the men nearest to him reacted instantly. Subtle adjustments. Hands moving closer to jackets. Eyes scanning. They sensed the change, even if they did not understand it. The boss was no longer merely attending a wedding. He was hunting the truth. And whatever had taken Emma from him, whatever had kept that child hidden, whatever had rewritten his life without his consent, would be answered. Slowly. Completely. And without mercy. Emma Chen felt the room before she saw him. The air changed. The noise shifted. Something heavy pressed against her chest like a warning she had learned not to ignore. 7 years of hiding had sharpened her instincts. She knew the difference between coincidence and danger. And this was danger. Her fingers tightened around Lily's hand. Not enough to hurt. Just enough to anchor. She did not turn at first. She did not need to. Some part of her had always known that if Daniel Park ever walked into the same room again, her body would recognize him before her mind did. She had practiced this moment in nightmares. In half-remembered fears that crept in when Lily slept and the world went quiet. She had imagined running. Freezing. Begging. What she had never imagined was standing still. Emma finally looked up. And there he was. Taller than she remembered. Harder. Wrapped in a calm that felt dangerous. The man she once loved was gone. In his place stood someone forged by power and silence. Someone who no longer belonged to Mercy. Her breath stuttered. Not from love. From fear. Because Daniel Park was not just her past. He was the world she had escaped. She felt Lily shift beside her. Felt the curious tug on her hand. "Mama, who is that man?" The words landed like a blade. Emma swallowed. Her mouth dry. Her heart hammering. Just someone from long ago. She whispered. She did not trust her voice to be louder. Lily leaned forward, slightly peering past her with open curiosity. Children had no instinct for danger born from power. Only truth. And Lily saw something in Daniel's face that made her tilt her head. He looked sad. Lily said. Emma almost broke. She forced herself to breathe. In. Out. This was why she had run. Not because she was weak, but because she had been pregnant. Alone. And surrounded by people who knew how to erase women like her, without leaving evidence. Daniel's mother had not threatened loudly. She had smiled. Promised protection. Spoken softly about accidents and misunderstandings. And Emma had believed her. The money. The documents. The lawyers. They had all said the same thing. Leave or lose everything. Emma had chosen Lily before Lily even existed. She had changed her name. Her city. Her future. She had built a quiet life brick by careful brick. No headlines. No connections. No shadows that led back to him. And now she was standing inside a luxury hotel, guarded by men who would not hesitate to obey his orders. Her stomach twisted. She scanned the room instinctively. Exits. Corners. Faces that watched too closely. This was Mafia territory. Even dressed in silk and crystal. Lily shifted again and suddenly tugged free. Mama chocolate. Emma turned too late. The child darted away her small shoes, tapping against marble, as she ran toward the dessert table. Emma's heart lurched violently. Lily, wait. Her voice came out sharper than she intended. Guests laughed, thinking it was nothing. Just a child at a wedding. But Emma knew better. Because Lily ran straight into the one man in the room she could not afford to collide with. Emma moved without thinking, weaving through guests, her pulse roaring in her ears. And then she saw it. Daniel's hands closing around Lily's shoulders. Steady. Instinctive. Not violent. Protective. And in that instant, Emma knew. This was no longer about hiding. The past had found them. And it was looking directly at her daughter. The moment Lily collided with him, the world tilted. Daniel felt the small impact against his legs before he saw her. Years of instinct took over. Hands moved fast, steady, precise. He caught her easily, one arm, bracing her shoulders, the other stopping her fall. For a heartbeat, nothing existed, except the weight of a child in his hands. She was warm. Alive. Real. Not a memory. Not a ghost. She looked up at him without fear. Dark eyes wide, curious, intelligent. Those eyes struck him like a blade. Daniel froze. He had faced guns, betrayal, and death without flinching. But this stole the breath from his lungs. The girl blinked once, then smiled politely, the way children did when taught manners carefully. Sorry, sir. I was running, she said. Her voice was soft, clear, confident. Daniel could not answer. Because the dimple appeared when she smiled. The exact same dimple his father had. The same one he saw in old family photographs. The same one he carried. The room faded. Sound dulled. The music became distant noise. He stared at her face, mapping it unconsciously. The curve of her eyebrows, the shape of her nose, the familiar tilt of her head. This was blood. This was undeniable. "Mama," Lily said suddenly, turning her head. Daniel followed her gaze. Emma was there. Too close. Too pale. Too still. Their eyes locked. In that instant, Daniel saw everything he had missed. Fear. Guilt. Resolve. And something else. Protection. Emma stepped forward quickly, her hand reaching for Lily. "I am so sorry," she said, her voice tight. She was excited about the chocolate. Her fingers closed around her daughter's hand, immediately pulling her closer, as if Daniel himself were the danger. The gesture cut deeper than any accusation. Daniel slowly straightened, still holding Lily steady, until Emma fully took her. His hands lingered for half a second too long. He did not want to let go. "How old are you?" he heard himself ask. The question came out low, controlled, but it shook beneath the surface. Lily tilted her head, studying him seriously. 6 3/4. "I will be 7 in December." December. The word echoed violently in his mind. He did the math without meaning to. Tokia. 7 years. The timing lined up too perfectly. Daniel felt something inside him crack. Emma inhaled sharply. She knew. She had always known this moment would come. Daniel looked from the child to the woman. Slowly. Deliberately. "Who is she?" he asked. The question was quiet, but it carried weight. The kind that made men step back instinctively. "This is Lily," Emma said, her voice barely steady. "My daughter." The words landed like a gunshot. "My daughter." Daniel knelt, suddenly bringing himself level with the child. The movement startled nearby guests, but no one intervened. Lily watched him calmly, her small hands clasped together. "Do you know my mama?" she asked. Daniel swallowed. "We knew each other a long time ago," he said carefully. "Before I was born." Lily said. "Yes," he answered. Emma closed her eyes for a brief second. She felt the ground slipping away beneath her. Daniel stood again slowly, his gaze never leaving Emma. "We need to talk," he said. "Not here," Emma whispered. Daniel leaned closer, lowering his voice, so only she could hear. 5 minutes. Garden Terrace. You are not disappearing again." Emma felt cold fear bloom in her chest. Around them, the wedding continued unaware. Laughter. Music. Champagne. But something had changed. The truth had stepped into the light. And there was no turning back now. Daniel did not raise his voice. He did not reach for Emma. He did not touch the child again. That was what made the moment dangerous. Men like him did not need volume or violence to command a room. Restraint was far more terrifying. He stepped back just enough to restore distance. Enough to signal control. Enough to let everyone believe this was nothing more than a polite interruption. The guards noticed anyway. They always did. 2 men near the bar shifted their stance. Another adjusted his jacket. No one moved closer. No one needed to. Daniel Park was thinking. Emma felt it like a storm gathering. Not loud. Not visible. But inevitable. She pulled Lily closer, placing her body between the child and the man she had spent 7 years running from. Her heart pounded so hard, she was sure it showed on her face. Daniel watched the movement carefully. The protective instinct. The fear. The readiness to flee. It confirmed everything he had already concluded. If Emma had wanted money or power, she would have come to him years ago. If she had wanted revenge, she would not be shaking now. And if the child were not his, Emma would not be guarding her like this. The truth was standing between them. Breathing. Blinking. Unaware of the war forming around her. Daniel glanced briefly at the surrounding guests, at the smiling faces, at the bride laughing nearby, at the illusion of safety. This was not the place. Not yet. He leaned slightly toward Emma, lowering his voice, so only she could hear. 5 minutes. Garden Terrace. You are not leaving. Emma felt her stomach drop. I can't. She whispered. This is a wedding. Daniel straightened again, his face unreadable. You came here knowing I might be present. He said softly. You do not get to decide when this conversation happens. Emma flinched. Not because of the words, but because of the truth in them. She had known. Somewhere deep down she had always known. Lily tugged at her dress. Mama, can I have chocolate now? The innocence of the request nearly broke her. Emma knelt, quickly forcing a smile that did not reach her eyes. In a minute, baby. Stay with Auntie Rachel, okay? She gestured toward the bride, who had begun to notice the tension. Rachel was already moving closer, her expression sharp with concern. Daniel watched the exchange in silence, every detail etched into his memory. The way Lily leaned into Emma. The way Emma brushed the child's hair back. The way the girl trusted her completely. He had missed everything. Rachel arrived, placing herself between them with practiced ease. Emma, darling, she said gently. The flower girls are in the side lounge. Cookies and juice. Lily brightened instantly. Cookies. Rachel smiled. Yes, real ones. Emma hesitated only a second before nodding. Go with Auntie Rachel. She said. I will be right back. Lily studied her face with uncanny seriousness. Promise. Emma swallowed. I promise. As the child was led away, Daniel felt something sharp twist inside his chest. He had made promises like that once, before everything shattered. Rachel turned to him, now her smile gone. Whatever this is, she said quietly. Not here. Daniel met her gaze, unblinking. It ends tonight. Rachel stepped aside. She understood. Everyone in their world did. Daniel turned back to Emma. Garden Terrace. 5 minutes. Then he walked away. Not looking back. Not waiting. Emma stood frozen for a heartbeat longer. Her hands shaking. Her mind racing. The illusion of escape was gone. The past was no longer behind her. It was waiting for her outside, under open sky, with nowhere left to hide. The garden terrace was quiet in a way that felt unnatural. The city stretched below them, glowing with distant lights, but the air between them was heavy and still. Daniel stood near the railing, his back to Emma. His hands gripped the metal hard enough to whiten his knuckles. He did not turn around. For a moment, Emma wondered if he was giving her one last chance to run. But she knew better. Daniel Park never gave empty space without purpose. You brought her into my world, he said finally, his voice low, controlled. Not a question. Emma stopped a few steps behind him, close enough to hear his breathing, far enough to escape if she had to. I did not bring her for you, she said. I brought her for my friend. Daniel let out a slow breath that sounded almost like a laugh, but held no humor. You hid her from me for 7 years, he said. That was not for a friend. The words struck like a blade. Emma felt them lodge deep in her chest. Your mother. She began, then stopped. Daniel turned sharply. The movement sudden, dangerous. Do not use her as an excuse, he said. I know what my mother is capable of. Emma met his gaze. Really met it. And saw something crack. Then you know she destroys quietly, she said. Without witnesses. Without mercy. Daniel stared at her, searching. Measuring. Testing. Tell me, he said. The command was not loud. It did not need to be. Emma wrapped her arms around herself. The city lights blurred as memory rose uninvited. The day you left for Tokyo, she said. She asked me to lunch. Daniel did not interrupt. She was polite. Emma continued, smiling, asking about my childhood, my work, my plans. She slid an envelope across the table. Money. Enough to disappear. Daniel closed his eyes briefly. When I refused, Emma said. She showed me another envelope. Her voice trembled now. Documents. Photos. Statements from people I had never met. They said I was unstable, unfaithful, dangerous. Daniel inhaled sharply. She told me accidents happen. Emma said that women like me vanish every day and no one asks questions. Daniel turned away again, his shoulders tight. I was pregnant. Emma whispered. I did not know yet, but my body knew something was wrong. She told me you were tired of me, that you had chosen the family over love, that you wanted me gone. I believed her. Daniel spun back around. I never said that. He said fiercely. I know. Emma said. Now I know. She wiped her face quickly. When I found out about Lily, I tried to reach you. Emails, calls, messages. Everything was blocked. Then I received a legal notice. From your family lawyers. It said you wanted nothing to do with the child. That if I contacted you again, you would take her from me. Daniel froze. I was terrified. Emma said. I had no power. No protection. Only her. So I ran. The silence stretched long and painful. Daniel stared out at the city again. When he spoke, his voice was different. Rougher. I searched for you. He said. For years. Emma swallowed. She hid me well. Emma said. Daniel nodded slowly. She always did. He turned to face Emma fully now. His eyes burned with something far more dangerous than anger. She is mine. He said. Not possessive. Certain. Yes. Emma said. She is. Daniel stepped closer, stopping, just short of touching her. You should have told me. He said. I was afraid you would believe her. Emma said. I was afraid you would choose your world over us. Daniel closed his eyes. I would have burned it all down for you. He said. The words hung between them, heavy and devastating. Inside, the hotel music drifted faintly. A celebration continuing without them. Emma felt the weight of the truth settle fully now. There was no villain here but control. No betrayal but fear. No victory without pain. And between them stood a little girl who had changed everything. Daniel spoke again, softer. You did what you had to do. He said. But this ends now. Emma looked at him. Nothing about this is simple. She said. Daniel nodded. I do not need simple. He said. I need the truth. And for the first time in 7 years, Emma realized she was no longer alone facing it. Daniel stood alone after Emma stepped away. The city lights below pulsed like a living thing. For years, he had ruled nights like this. Cold ordered absolute. Tonight the power felt different. Unsteady. Heavy. Through the glass doors, he could see the ballroom again. See the guests laughing. See the bride glowing. And then he saw her. The little girl. Lily sat at a low table with other children. Her feet did not touch the floor. She was swinging them slightly as she listened to another child speak. Her face lit with interest. Not impatience. Daniel watched without moving. He noticed everything. The way she tilted her head when listening. The way she waited her turn to speak. The way she offered her cookie to another child without hesitation. These were not learned behaviors from privilege. These were taught through care. Through presence. Through love. His chest tightened. He had commanded men twice his size, ordered executions with a nod, negotiated lives like currency. And yet the smallest person in the room terrified him the most. Because she mattered. Daniel leaned against the railing, closing his eyes. Memories surfaced uninvited. A younger version of himself, dreaming of weekends and family dinners. Of laughter without consequence. Of a life that did not require blood to maintain order. He had buried those dreams when Emma vanished. Replaced them with control. With dominance. With silence. Now the silence was broken. Rachel appeared quietly beside him. Her expression unreadable. She deserves better than secrets, she said. Daniel did not look at her. She has them, he replied. Because of Emma. Rachel nodded. Emma protected her. Rachel said. At great cost. Daniel exhaled slowly. I know. Inside the ballroom, Lily laughed again. The sound cut through him, sharper than any threat ever had. Daniel straightened. That child will never be afraid of me, he said. Rachel glanced at him, surprised. You sound certain. I am, Daniel replied. I will not let my world touch her. He continued. Not the violence. Not the fear. Not the past. Rachel studied him. And Emma. Daniel hesitated. She trusted me once, he said. I failed her without knowing. Rachel said nothing. Daniel turned back toward the glass. Lily looked up then. Her eyes met his again. This time she smiled. Not polite. Not cautious. Open. Daniel felt his throat tighten. He lifted his hand slightly. Almost unconsciously. Lily raised hers and waved. Something in him broke then. Not loudly. Not violently. Clean. Sharp. Final. 7 years of anger dissolved in that small motion. Daniel knew in that moment. Whatever his mother had done. Whatever his world demanded. Whatever price had to be paid. He would pay it. Not with money. Not with fear. With chain. He turned away from the terrace and walked back inside. Past guards who straightened instinctively. Past guests who moved aside. He knelt slowly in front of Lily. Hello, he said. Lily smiled wider. Hi. What is your name? He asked. Lily. She replied. Daniel nodded. I am Daniel. She considered him carefully. You are Mama friend, she said. Yes. Daniel answered. A very important one. Lily accepted this easily. Do you live here? She asked. Sometimes, he said. She nodded. Mama says people can live in more than one place. She is right, Daniel said. Lily leaned closer, lowering her voice. You look sad, she said. Daniel swallowed. I was, he admitted. She patted his arm awkwardly. It is okay, she said. Mama says sad people just need time. Daniel closed his eyes briefly. Time, he echoed. For the first time in years. He wanted it. And for the first time in his life. He knew exactly what he would protect with it. The night did not end when the wedding did. For Daniel, it was only beginning. He watched Lily fall asleep in Emma's arms later that evening. Her head resting against her shoulder. Her fingers curled loosely in fabric. Trusting. Unafraid. Something inside him shifted permanently. Daniel had always believed power meant control. The ability to bend outcomes. To decide who rose and who disappeared. But watching that child breathe evenly changed the definition. Power now meant restraint. He stepped back, allowing Emma to carry Lily toward the elevators. He did not follow. Did not intrude. Did not claim. That was deliberate. Protection did not always require presence. When the doors closed, Daniel turned sharply. The warmth left his expression instantly. The softness locked away. His phone was already in his hand. "Bring the car," he said quietly. Outside the hotel, the city hummed unaware. Traffic flowed. Lights blinked. Life continued. Inside the vehicle, Daniel stared out the window as it moved. His reflection stared back. Older. Harder. Different. He dialed a number he had not called in 3 years. It rang once, then answered. "I know why you're calling," a familiar voice said. Daniel did not waste words. "You threatened the mother of my child," he said. Silence. "You erased 7 years of my life." He continued. "You used my name to cage a woman who trusted me." The voice on the other end trembled slightly. "I protected the family," she said. Daniel closed his eyes. "You destroyed it," he replied. When the call ended, Daniel did not feel relief. Only clarity. By morning, the changes began. Accounts frozen. Authority transferred. Names removed from power structures that had existed for decades. Men who had once answered to a matriarch now answered to no one. Daniel dismantled quietly. Efficiently. Without spectacle. Because this was not revenge. It was correction. Emma woke the next morning unaware that the world she feared had already begun to change. Daniel arrived later alone. No guards. No entourage. Just a man carrying a small bag. Inside were toys. Books. A stuffed animal shaped like a panda. Lily lit up when she saw him. "You came back," she said. "Yes," Daniel replied. "I told you I would." Emma watched carefully. Every muscle tense. Every instinct alert. "I will not take her," Daniel said before she could speak. "I will not force anything." Emma studied his face. "Then what do you want?" she asked. Daniel knelt to Lily level again. "Permission," he said. Lily frowned. "For what?" "To know you," he said. She considered this. Then looked at Emma. "Mama." Emma hesitated. Years of fear did not dissolve overnight. But she saw something new in Daniel's eyes. Not ownership. Not threat. Commitment. "Okay," Emma said finally. "But slow." Daniel nodded. "Slow is fine." Days passed. Then weeks. Daniel kept his distance, but never disappeared. He learned Lily's schedule. Her favorite stories. Her fears. Her joys. He showed up consistently. Quietly. Emma watched. Tested. Waited for the shadow to fall. It never did. One evening, Daniel spoke softly. "I am changing things," he said. "The world I come from will never touch her." Emma searched his face. "And you?" she asked. Daniel answered without hesitation. "I will become someone worthy of her knowing." That was when Emma realized. This was no longer a mafia boss trying to reclaim what he lost. This was a father rebuilding himself from the ground up. And the most dangerous man in the city had chosen love over power. The truth did not arrive like a storm. It came quietly, in the voice of a child. They were sitting in the hotel garden late afternoon. The wedding guests long gone. The world softer now. Lily sat cross-legged on the grass drawing circles with a stick. Emma watched her carefully. Always watching. Always guarding. Daniel sat a short distance away. Not close enough to crowd. Not far enough to disappear. He had learned that balance quickly. Lily suddenly looked up at him. Her eyes thoughtful. Serious in the way only children could be. "Daniel," she said. He turned fully toward her. Yes. She hesitated, then asked the question that stopped time again. Why do you look like me? Emma felt her heart slam violently against her ribs. Daniel did not answer immediately. He did not rush. He did not lie. He looked at Emma instead. Her face had gone pale. Her fingers clenched tightly together. This was not the moment she had planned. Not the place. Not the way. But Lily's eyes waited. Trusting. Expectant. Daniel lowered himself to Lily level. Sometimes, he said slowly, people are connected in ways we do not understand at first. Lily frowned. Like family? She asked. The word hung heavy in the air. Emma inhaled sharply. Daniel looked back at her again, silently asking. Not demanding. Permission. 7 years of fear roared inside Emma. Memories of threats. Lawyers. Warnings. Then she looked at Lily. At the hope already blooming in her eyes. Emma nodded. Just once. Barely visible. But Daniel saw it. Yes. He said softly. Like family. Lily's eyes widened. Does that mean? She whispered. Are you my daddy? The world seemed to stop breathing. Daniel felt something inside his chest tear open. A soundless break. Clean and painful. He did not answer immediately. He did not smile. He did not celebrate. He reached out slowly and placed his hand flat over his heart. If you want me to be, he said. Then yes. Lily stared at him for a long second, then stood and walked straight into his arms. Daniel froze, then wrapped her gently, carefully, as if she might disappear. She fit perfectly. Emma covered her mouth, tears blurring her vision. Lily rested her head against his shoulder. Mama, she said calmly. I think he belongs with us. Daniel laughed then, a sound that surprised even him. Rough and broken and real. Emma stepped forward finally, her hands trembling. I did not mean to keep her from you, she said. I was afraid. Daniel looked at her over Lily's head. I know, he said. I am not angry. That truth hit harder than anger ever could. Lily pulled back slightly and looked at both of them. Does this mean I have 2 homes now? She asked. Daniel smiled softly. If you want, he said. Lily considered. Only if Mama comes too. Daniel looked at Emma. Always, he said. The sun dipped lower, casting long shadows across the garden. A family stood there, not bound by legality, not sealed by promises, but formed by truth. Daniel Park had built an empire on fear. But in that moment he knew. This fragile, imperfect connection was the most powerful thing he had ever held. The world did not change overnight, but it shifted in ways that could not be undone. Daniel Park did not make speeches. He did not announce decisions. Power did not require explanation. Within weeks, his name stopped being whispered in fear and started being spoken with caution. Operations moved. Lines were redrawn. Men who thrived on chaos found themselves without purpose. No blood was spilled. No warnings were issued. That alone terrified them. Daniel chose absence over domination, distance over intimidation. And in that silence, something new grew. Emma watched him carefully. Every promise tested against action. Every word measured against time. She had learned survival through skepticism. Love had cost her too much once. Daniel understood that. He did not rush her, did not demand trust, did not ask forgiveness before earning it. He showed up. Every morning Lily woke to a message. Sometimes a drawing. Sometimes a short voice note telling her good morning and reminding her to be kind. Every weekend he came alone. No guards. No shadows. He learned how to braid hair badly at first. He learned bedtime stories by heart. He learned that Lily was afraid of thunder and that she liked her pancakes soft. Emma watched her daughter bloom. She laughed louder, slept easier, asked fewer questions about why other children had fathers. One night, Lily fell asleep between them on the couch, her small hand in Daniel's, her feet pressed against Emma's leg. The moment was quiet, fragile. Daniel spoke softly. "I am not asking for forever," he said. "I am asking for today." Emma looked at him, then really looked. Not at the power, not at the past, at the man who had rebuilt himself without demanding reward. "Today is enough," she said. Months passed. Daniel moved closer, not into her space, but into her life. A house nearby, close enough to be present, far enough to respect her independence. They argued. They stumbled. They learned. Trust was not a leap. It was a series of small steps. One evening, Lily asked a simple question. "Are we a family now?" Emma hesitated. Daniel waited. Then Emma answered. "Yes." The word settled. Gentle. Certain. Daniel did not smile wide. He exhaled, as if he had been holding his breath for years. The wedding came later. Small. Quiet. Under open sky. Lily walked between them holding both hands, serious about her role. Proud. Daniel knelt not as a boss, not as a king, but as a man. "Will you choose me?" he asked Emma. "Every day." Emma touched his face. "Yes," she said. When they kissed, Lily laughed, declaring them embarrassing. Life did not become perfect. Scars remained. Boundaries stayed. But fear no longer ruled. Years later, Emma would realize something profound. The shock that froze a mafia boss at a wedding was not the end of a story. It was the beginning of one. Not about power, not about wealth, but about a man who chose to chain, a woman who chose to stay, and a child who taught them both how to begin again. They did not win because they were strong. They won because they refused to run anymore. And in choosing each other, they finally became everything they had lost. Together,